Hello everyone, welcome back to my look at the 7 DRL roguelikes of 2014. We've already covered my top 5, so that's done. They're all in the bag. From memory, they were Trauma RL, Data Queen, Here Be Dragons, Lava Walker, and finally, Kunoichi. Now, I mentioned in the Kunoichi video that the number 5 spot was a particularly tough one, and this is one of the games that nearly scraped into that 5th slot. This is another browser-based roguelike, like Here Be Dragons and Lava Walker. This one is Golden Krone Hotel, not Corona. Leave mediocre lime-tinged lagers out of this. It's Golden Krone Hotel. At least I assume that's Krone, the currency. Having actually finished the game and seen the object in question, it looked like a crown. You know, it was on someone's head and it was kind of crown-shaped. I mean, who wears a coin on their head? Or a bottle of beer, for that matter. So I'm not sure exactly what that word is meant to refer to, but I'm going with Krone since it's spelt the same way as the currency. Anyway, a roguelike about a hotel might sound peculiar, but this isn't about hotel management or, you know, going door to door along procedurally generated corridors, making sure there are enough towels. This is basically about fighting a way to the top of a hotel which is run by vampires. And I don't mean run in the sense that they manage it. I mean, it's occupied by them. They dwell there. Although there do seem to be other people milling around as well, so maybe there actually are guests. I don't know. But let's get started and I'll yak a bit more while we're taking a look at it. So here's a little bit of background story. General Arabes, however that is, trust me when I say we have a shared interest. On the outskirts of the border town, what's that, Streetaba, there lies a tower inhabited by the worst of scoundrels. Maybe you've heard of it, but few know who resides at the top. None other than Fane. I know during the war you wiped out all of Fane's lieutenants, but the Vampire Prince eluded you, Fane being the Vampire Prince. I can offer you a bounty for taking care of Fane, but we both know the job will be reward enough. I suggest you conceal your identity on this mission, for Fane has both vampire and human in his employ. I actually haven't noticed that. As I said, you do run into humans, but actually they seem to be on your side. Although, having said that, they don't fight the vampires, so yeah, who knows. I will come back to the danger posed by the humans in a moment. Because here you'll see it says humans are slow and weak but can cast powerful magics. I'll return to that in a second. This is us, Serena Arabes, exalted vampire huntress, human general apparently. But basically we're kind of a paladin crusader type person. And that's Fane, the exiled vampire prince. And actually that yellow thing on his head is the golden crown corona in question. See what I mean? It doesn't look like a coin, it looks like a hat. So here we go. This first corridor is always the same. There used to be a persistent section at the beginning which was kind of a tutorial teaching you how to work out some of the basic mechanics. But it was odd because you had to go left out of the starting room to find it. If you went north, you ended up in procedurally generated areas, so it was a bit confusing. But it was redesigned, so it's like this. And this does the same thing. Teaches you some of the basic mechanics of the game. Essentially, how you use your powers and how you use sunlight. So, if we toddle up here a few steps, I'm moving using the 4 arrow keys. It's a 4-directional movement job. You'll see we're now immersed in sunlight, which is coming through those cracked windows on the right. And I just backed up a bit. Vampires coming towards us. As you might expect from a vampire, if we back up and lure him into the sunlight, he dies. It took a couple of hits because he was a tougher one, but your base sort of vampire will usually go down in one blast of sunlight. Now, if you look on the right side of this corridor, you'll notice there's kind of a shattered-looking block, which has sunlight streaming through it, and a normal-looking one, sort of stained glass-looking, but not broken, which doesn't have light coming through it. I think these are meant to be windows, like stained glass windows, but the weird thing about that is light only comes through when they're broken. Don't worry about the physics of it. The important thing is you can break these window-like blocks to let more sunlight in, but it has to be coming from the right direction. Now, there's going to be a little bit of talk here. You can see, sort of to the right of the screen, there's a column of grey spaces. The top one says number 1, blast. You always start off with the blast ability, and it's assigned to the 1 key. And that's what you use to break windows. I've never known it to do damage to enemies, but it's very good for breaking windows. So, let's break this window to our right. Press 1, pick a direction. There we go. More sunlights come in. Now, above that column of grey spaces, you'll see some times and things. Currently says 6:23 AM, day 1, money count, floor 1. But to the left of that time detail stuff, you'll see a square, and the right-hand side is yellow with some beams streaming in. That's the direction of the sun, and it sweeps round in a clockwise direction over the course of the day. So depending on the time of day, it'll be coming from the right, from the bottom, or from the left. It never comes in through the top, for some reason. You would think it would, but it doesn't. And then, of course, at night time, it doesn't come from any direction. So when you're trying to lure vampires positionally into beams of sunlight, which is a lot easier than fighting them, you need to pay attention to the time of day. So let's get started, and I'll show you how it plays a bit more. I'm going to break all of these windows, just because it doesn't cost me anything. You seem to be able to use your abilities with impunity. There doesn't seem to be a magic bar or anything. But conceivably it might make you hungry or something faster. I'm not clear on that. So let's pop through here. And this is where it starts to get procedurally generated. You'll notice there are these torch sconces around. If you stand on one, a little extinguish space appears at the bottom of that column of grey. And you can extinguish these torches. Or, if you come across one that's not lit, like just to the north of us here, there, you can see enkindle. And if we pop open our inventory here, where is it? Is it in potions? I think it's in potions, yeah. You'll see oil, and you can use your oil to light a torch, but I think you can only do it once. Now, I want to mention while we're covering this that there's a bit of a hybrid control scheme going on here, which is a little bit weird. You mainly use the keyboard for things like picking up items with G, moving around with the arrow keys, that kind of stuff. And of course you bump to attack. But if you want to select potions, like you can pop open the potion menu by pressing P, but when you want to actually drink one, you have to use the mouse to click on quaff, which is a bit awkward, but it's not the end of the world. Still, that is one of the things that counted against this. So let's break some more windows. You can see it's starting to angle sort of up and left as it comes through the windows, because pretty soon the light will start coming in through the south side. So we'll move around a bit, and what we're looking to do basically is get to the top of the hotel. Vampires coming at us here, and this is going to be an issue, because vampires are pretty tough. In fact, most of the enemies are pretty tough, and if you try to fight them head to head, there's a good chance you'll die. You might not, but you might. Particularly if it's dark, and this is what the torches are for. Various enemies, mainly vampires, actually get weaker when they're in bright torchlight like this. So let's lure him back here and smack him down a bit. So you saw he actually did a lot of damage to us, but we did survive it. If we'd fought him in that darkened corridor, there's a good chance he'd have won. You'll also notice when you look at the sun direction thing to the right next to the time that it's now coming from the south side. We also just got a level up, so let's use the mouse to pick a statistic to increase. Let's go with strength, because we're a fighty type. I mean, you don't get to choose a class, but you know, I tend to go in there and brawl. So, you've got all your potions and things as usual. Every now and then, you stumble across a book lying around. Hopefully we'll see one soon. I'm going to run away here and finish him off. Okay. I'll break some more windows while I'm here, just for when the sun comes around again. Yeah, so we're basically looking for stairs up. There are some stairs up, so that we can get to the top of the hotel. Now here, you'll see there's some armour. When you stand on those, if you look at my sort of message log in the bottom right, you'll see it says, find the silver armour, lacking, and discard it. So when you stand on new armour, or a new weapon, or a new shield, it will say automatically whether you pick it up and equip it or not. The game will assess whether it's better than the stuff you've currently got, and it will automatically either equip it or discard it. You don't have to take any action at all with that. Now, we're hungry. Our hunger bar at the top says hungry, so we're going to have to eat something soon. I don't know if we have any food. Oh yeah, you start with ale. Ale in this game serves as food, so let's quaff some ale. Our hunger's gone away. And here's a book. There are, as far as I remember, 3 kinds of book. One of them is a grimoire, which teaches you a new spell. One is just kind of a chronicle thing that gives you a bit more of the background story on Fane and his business. And the other one actually improves some of your... I think it improves skills or something like that. Oh, and there's one that lets you identify potions. Like you might read something that says, you can now identify all of this kind of potion. So, yeah, let's see what this one is. This says read grimoire, so let's press R to read it. And now you'll see you've learnt the silver spell. Not entirely sure what silver does. You basically just have to play around with them to find out. And this is Golden Krone Hotel, basically. There are a couple of other things, which, oh, see, there's a person. The human won't attack me, but it won't attack the vampire either. Oh, crap. So, yeah, thinking about it, I guess the humans probably do work for Fane. Oh, and a rat as well. And that's us dead. So let's press Y to start a new game. Here we go. Yeah, I think the humans probably do work for Fane, the vampire prince guy. But it seems like they assume that we also work here, because the humans won't attack you for the most part. However, they will attack you under some circumstances, and this is the other main mechanic of the game that I want to mention before I wrap things up. You can become a vampire. As far as I can tell, you are actually already afflicted with vampirism when you start the game. Let's back away from this guy. Sun is coming from the south. Let's see if there's a window we can use down there. Yes. Like this. Yeah. Eat that. I think you're already afflicted with vampirism when the game starts. I believe. So, what happens is basically at some point you become a vampire. I don't know whether it's on a set timer or whether, you know, fighting vampires will actually do more to exacerbate this or what. But after a while you just become a vampire. And at that point the vampires will leave you alone. But the humans will attack you, which is what makes me think maybe the humans don't work for Fane. It's not very clear. And that, of course, changes the way you play, because then you don't want all those broken windows around with sunlight streaming through. And you don't want all of these torches lit, because they will weaken you rather than your enemies. And you'll also find that whenever you kill an organic enemy, whether it's a human or a rat or something like that, it will leave a puddle of blood, like that, and your vampire self will lick that up when walking over it. So they're basically 2 different ways of playing, and you can change back from vampire to human by drinking a certain potion, which you can see listed here. Soul Elixir, you have 3 of them. So you can change back from vampire to human, at least temporarily, by drinking that. So there are 2 ways to play it. You can play it as human and you can play it as vampire, and you will probably alternate back and forth between the 2 during any given playthrough of this game. And those are basically the 2 neat things about this game. One is this whole sunlight thing, which is quite a nice mechanic, and the other is the fact that... Oh, that didn't go very well. The other is that you will be both human and vampire at different times. There are a few reasons that this didn't make the grade in the top 5. One is that it has some flaws. There are some of the mechanics I'm not that fond of. Oh, crap. Timed that wrong. Sunlight had already gone. There are some of the mechanics I'm not that fond of. The torches, for instance. I like the idea, but I never bother actually lighting them or putting them out, for that matter. Doesn't really... I mean, it does make a difference, but it's easier to just move away. Either move away from torches if you don't want to be near them, or move towards them if you do. So kindling them and extinguishing them doesn't really seem to have that much effect. The other main gripe I have is that the game is actually really, really easy once you know a particular thing, which I'm not going to tell you because it will ruin the game playing experience for you, or at least make it extremely easy for you to finish it. But once the penny drops on a particular thing, you can finish the game pretty handily, without much difficulty. So anyway, I've already gone on longer than I intended to for one of the runner-up games in this contest. This is one that very, very nearly made the list at number 5. This is Golden Krone Hotel, available in your browser, and as usual, I will link it below. So, thanks for watching as always. Rejoin me next time when I will cover more of my honorary mentions for the 70RL Roguelike contest of 2014. So until then, bye for now.